Joining us tonight, Tori Johnson, Executive Director of SAGE Metro St. Louis. I'll have you explain just briefly what that is in just a second. Also, Denise Lieberman with Washington University, a lawyer and professor with Washington University, and Jeff Mittman, Executive Director of ACLU, Eastern Missouri. Welcome all of you to the program. I'll ask you, gay marriage often gets the headlines, especially lately. Are there bigger issues that we should be talking about?
Well, obviously the two gay marriage cases that are before the U.S. Supreme Court are much anticipated,
right.
Are going to come down next week, and are likely to be historic in establishing a standard for rights with respect to relationship recognition. And that could have implications for any number of areas of law. But of course, Casey, there are so many other areas in the day-to-day lives of people that are affected by their sexual orientation and gender identity that aren't protected under law.
Are we talking about discrimination?
Absolutely.
You know, it's discrimination. I think it's really of a whole body. It's equal marriage rights. It's the right to employment. It's rights to housing, whether you're single, young, or old. You know, it's exciting. In addition to the Supreme Court cases at the U.S. level, the ACLU is really pleased. We have a case right here in Missouri, again, about partnership recognition. We have two clients, Dennis and Kelly, who were not married, but Dennis was killed in the course of action as a state trooper.
Right.
His partner could not get benefits that any other couple would have been entitled to. So it's really about recognizing families, recognizing the right to be a part of the American fabric, and it's really important.
And Tori, I wanted to back up for just a second. SAGE, tell us what SAGE is for those of us who don't know.
SAGE stands for Services and Advocacy for Gay, Lesbian, Bisexual, and Transgender Elders. And our SAGE focus is to enhance the lives of those elders by connecting them to safe and affirming services within our community. So, along with what you were talking about with as far as rights to survivor benefits, many of our older adults, we find when they lose a partner, maybe the partner was the higher earner of the couple. So when the partner passes away, that surviving partner is not entitled to any survivor benefits. So once a person may have had a nice middle class lifestyle, all of a sudden impoverished.
Let's talk about housing. Where are we in Missouri when it comes to housing, for instance?
I think many people would be surprised to know that Missouri law doesn't protect people to be free from discrimination in housing based on their sexual orientation or gender identity. That under Missouri law, it is legal to refuse to rent or to sell a house to someone because you perceive them to be gay or transgender. And in fact, we took a look at housing ordinances in a number of communities around St. Louis County and found that a number still have restrictive covenants on the book that limit cohabitating couples to married couples and have used those laws to try and evict same-sex couples. Now, a number of communities have taken the step of enshrining protections based on sexual orientation and gender identity. 10 communities within St. Louis County, as well as the city of St. Louis and unincorporated St. Louis County, do provide protections against discrimination in housing based on sexual orientation, gender identity, just as they would for race, religion, ethnicity.
And there's some good news there, actually. We know that Missourians believe in fair play. A lot of people think, well, we've had anti-discrimination laws for years, so gay and lesbian people, transgender people must be protected. When they find out that they're not, I think that offends their sense of fairness. I mean, we all understand everybody should have a right to a fair job. Everybody should have a right to housing over their head. So I think we're seeing a trend in the right direction, but anything we can do, anything Missourians can do, anything viewers can do to help move that forward, I think that's important. I think people want to be involved.
So could a person be fired for being gay?
In the state of Missouri, yes, they can.
And the recourse is?
It's very limited, unless you live in one of the very few communities that provide protection based on sexual orientation and gender identity.
But how do those communities, how do the laws on the books in, say, Kirkwood stack up with the state law? I mean, state law is going to trump Kirkwood law. Could it just be appealed to the state level and vice versa? I guess I'm asking how strong are these laws, I guess.
No, I mean, the problem is
they're
limited. And I think what's important to remember is, like, we do not have protections at the state level. Somebody can look at you and say, I am firing you because you're gay. I am firing you because you're transgender. And under Missouri law, there's nothing you can do. And again, under federal law, there's nothing you can do. So I think we need people to pay attention and say, we need to write to our state senators and representatives. We need to contact our federal representatives. This has got to stop. It offends people's sense of fair play, and it's time that we made a change.
And look, this is an area where the majority of Americans are all on board with this. The majority of people believe that people shouldn't be able to be fired because of who they are. and who they love. And in fact, there was a survey that was done by Small Business Monthly of small businesses. 81% of business owners didn't even know that the law didn't protect against discrimination based on sexual orientation.
What do you say to somebody who says, okay, that's fine, we'll add this to the law, but then we're going to be adding redheads to the law? Do you hear that argument, and does it hold any water?
You do hear it, and here's the interesting thing. The course of American history has been progress towards equality. I think that's a great thing, that as we learn and grow as Americans, as we learn and grow as human beings, we understand we can protect each other, we can allow for a richer fabric of American social life, and we do want to give these protections. It's not to give anybody special rights, it's not to give a leg up to anybody, it's to say we all have the chance to compete fairly, we all have the chance to live as neighbors, and that's what makes for a richer society.
And it makes good business sense too. I mean, that is why a significant proportion of Fortune 500 companies have their own policies that protect against discrimination in the workplace overall, because they know that that allows them to attract the best and the brightest to work in their businesses, and that increases revenues. It just makes good business sense as well.
Tori, do you see these same issues for our older folks?
Yes, actually, I do see the same issues when it comes to our older adults, especially in the realm of discrimination in housing. Many older adults, like I said before, are limited on their income, so many older adults are now seeking lower income housing, and some of them are in couples. And prior to on the federal level of HUD bringing down the ruling that you can no longer discriminate against people based on actual or perceived sexual orientation, these older adults before, they could not even rent an apartment together, whether it's low income or regular market rate apartments. And many of our older adults, they're seeing this. And when our older adults, we look at them, they lived through the years of stigma. So many of them are retreating back into the closet as they age. So these laws, giving everybody a fair play, are very vital to our community.
Thank you.